friends, welcome to another short episode of Throwback Thursdays. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to follow this up, if I'm going to try and continue this or not, because I don't know what else I got on video, other than some old band stuff, which could prove to be interesting. We'll see. So to preface this little video, back in 2009, I was freelancing in Vancouver as a web designer, graphic designer, basically the same stuff that I'm doing now. As time went by, I just realized that I was pretty much a hamster on a wheel. Hitting the ground digitally and physically, trying to drum up clients so that I could make enough money to pay the rent and my bills, only to buy myself the privilege of doing it again next month. I wasn't getting ahead. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't seeing anything or doing anything that I really wanted to do. I was just basically hamster on a wheel. So at a certain point, I just got burnt out. I'm like, okay, screw this. My brother at the time was looking for a place to move to. So I made a deal with him where he basically sublet my place, covered the rent, and I threw what I needed into my Xterra and basically fucked off. I literally just within a week and a half made the decision. I bought a SUV air mattress, threw it in the back, and hit the road. The funny thing was, it was October in Canada. So I literally road tripped across Canada, and as I was going, I decided that for it to be an actual cross Canada road trip, I had to get as far east as possible. And that happens to be Cape Spear, Newfoundland. So over the course of those months, I crossed Canada in the winter, trudging through snow, driving through rain, sleet, ice. Hell, I was in Cape Breton, and the snow was I couldn't even barely see the sky. It was so high. I don't know how they plowed it and what kind of snowblower they have to get it that high off the road, but it was 2 lanes of road and walls of snow on each side. It was crazy stuff. I shot in the rain, I shot in the wind, I shot at night in minus 20 Celsius winds. I did whatever I wanted to do. And I slept in the truck. I think I allowed myself 1 to 2 nights a week. I got a room, providing it was under $40. I think only once I went over that because I needed a shower and that kind of thing. And this is back before I kind of learned that, truck stops have showers, and, you don't necessarily have to be a truck driver to use them. Stuff like that, you just learn along the way. But anyways, I did this road trip. And one thing to note, and here's the lesson for all you other photographers, and this was a hard one. The day that this video on the Weather Network that I'm about to show you was shot, I went back to my truck after meeting I can't remember her name, but after meeting the host on the Weather Network who did the little interview, I went back to the truck. I went and had something to eat, and then I decided to go to a Starbucks and sit in the warm and edit some photos, because I wasn't shooting video back then or anything like that. And I pulled out my laptop and I pulled out my one hard drive, and I went to take my coat off, and everything was firing up. I got everything running and logged in and kind of thing, and plugged in. And as everything was firing up, I went to take my coat off, and the sleeve caught on the connection between the hard drive and the laptop, and I pulled the hard drive off the windowsill, which I thought was a safer place than the small little round table that I was sitting at, and that hard drive hit the ceramic tile. Done, gone, everything. Now this is on my way back from Cape Spear, Newfoundland. So I left Vancouver, did all the way across the country to Cape Spear, Newfoundland, took that ferry, took the ferry back, was back in Ontario, and I had over 95 days of driving, hiking, and shooting. I had over 500 gigabytes of footage, because it was a 1 terabyte drive and it was over half full. So 500 gigabytes of photos, and I lost everything. Ever since then, I have minimum 2 backups of everything. So lesson learned, if you're watching this and you plan on doing a trip like this and you value what you're about to go out and shoot, please back it up. There's even cloud backups now, like Blaze, and there's a couple other things. Amazon, what is it? I think with Prime, there's Amazon backups or Amazon Photos or something you can back up to. The only thing is those online cloud things are gonna suck a lot of bandwidth. But anyways, that was the lesson I learned. So as you're watching this video, know that later on that night, I was pretty much had my head in my hands and not doing very well. But it was fun to do the interview, and I have no regrets. It's lessons learned, places I need to go revisit now, one day. So there you go. So check out this little interview I did for the Weather Network, and I'll see you all later. Bye.
A cold winter's day in Canada, we find a lot of you taking to the ski hills and the toboggan hills, but there are other pursuits like photography that can be really magical this time of year. My special guest today is Wayne Stadler, and you've chosen this season willingly to shoot photographs for weeks, for months on end, Wayne.
Yeah, I left Vancouver in October. I was hoping my friends would talk me out of it, but they all supported me, so here I am.
And you've been all the way to Cape Spear, Newfoundland, and here we are, January going into February, and you're heading back home.
Yeah, I got to Cape Spear mid-January, took my shots there and turned around.
How many photographs have you taken on this road trip?
I'm in the thousands. I bought a terabyte hard drive to put everything on, just in its raw format, and it's half full.
Okay, and the winter season was not a deterrent for you to do this, pursue this passion?
No, I figured we're Canadian. This is part of what we deal with on a yearly basis, so why not just get out and do it? And if you can do it in the winter, I can do it in the summer.
Wow. WayneOnTheRoad.com is where you can see some of Wayne's photographs. We'll look at them in a moment. I just want to ask you what kind of weather challenges you've had. You must have some stories to tell.
I've driven through the snow. I've shot in the rain, trying to keep the camera and lenses dry. That's always fun. But majority I've been noticing is just wind. I've been getting a lot of wind, and if I'm on a tripod, then the wind shakes the camera around. Even when it's strong wind like that, it's shaking back and forth. So. What
about gear, special gear to protect yourself, protect the equipment as well for amateur photographers out there that might want to learn from your experience?
Just keep it dry. If it's really raining or really snowing, you gotta wipe it off every once in a while. Niagara Falls was a challenge because of the mist. Plastic bags, take it out in a plastic bag and only take it out of the bag when you're shooting, and then put it back in when you're walking around. Or I have a whole knapsack for everything, but if you're shooting, it's just put it in a bag and keep it dry for as long as you can.
Well, the weather certainly creates different moods for us, and certainly different moods for the photographs. We're going to start off by looking at some snowy shots that you've taken just recently.
Yeah, a couple of recent ones from Ontario. One is an old ice cream truck that I found in between.
Not being used?
Yeah, no, not being used this time of year. I don't think it's been used for a while, but that was between Cornwall and Port Hope.
And what's the story? What's the story with the car here?
The car is just came onto a crossroads and was about to turn, and I saw it parked in a lot, and decided to snap it. And, got real low.
You seem to have a thing for vehicles here.
I have a thing for junk. I like finding beauty in anything that doesn't seem to have any left, as well as the landscape shots and that kind of thing. But I like old abandoned houses and old cars and that kind of thing.
And this is the Gulf of St. Lawrence and the Percé Rock, or Perce Rock?
Yeah, I saw a picture of that in a book and wanted to go see it for myself. And when I got there, the sky was gorgeous. A little chilly, but still, like I said, we're in Canada.
Exactly. And speaking of Canada, I mean, this has got to be iconic, this next shot.
The next shot is my shot from Cape Pierce. Or
Cape Spear.
Cape Spear. Pierce Spear. But yeah, it was just the lighthouse, As far east as you can get, the Atlantic Ocean is just crashing. It was just crashing that day. And, I just snapped it away. And
it must be very moving to see these kinds of Canadian landscapes, and sometimes under very dramatic weather conditions.
It's definitely different. I looked at it as, like I said, we live through this kind of weather all the time. So why not get out and capture it at its best and, just see it at the opposite time of year.
And in our last couple of seconds here, these last two shots are Saskatchewan, obviously taken in warmer weather, really beautiful.
Yeah, those were the end of October when I was passing through. I'm planning on getting a lot more on my way back home.
Very good. Well, safe trip home and living the dream, I guess, the road trip back to Vancouver. Wayne on the road.com. Wayne Stadler, thanks so much for this.
Thank you.
And happy weather journeys.
It's like working with a monkey.